Alrighty, welcome back to another episode of The 12, our epic campaign of discovery and adventure across the continent of Corvair. This story streams live around 6 p.m. on Sundays here on Javelin Entertainment, and if you missed the last chapter, then you can check it out on the channel page or by clicking the link down in the description.
Last time our story left off in a clamor and chaos of a street brawl where fists flew, coins clinked, and two of our ever-resourceful scoundrels were making a lightly magical attempt to tip the odds. But not even clever spells could save Redbeard, a plucky pugilist with more pride than punch, from the meaty arms of the orcish opponent. Until, that is, a well-timed suggestion flipped the tide. And that was from Clyde. But the real tension wasn't in the ring, it was in the shadows. Jasira, already on edge from the previous night's events, spotted a pale face watching her. Quicker than a heartbeat, she vanished into the alley in pursuit. Roland and Boko gave chase, not wanting to lose her again, and Jasira's magical tattoo lashed out, conjuring inky tendrils that seized her quarry. The ghostly figure, known as Alma, seemed more aloof than malicious. With Roland's support, they questioned her, but her answers fluttered aimlessly. Boko's sharp eyes caught another watching from the dark, a gray-skinned tiefling, calm, cool, and coiled like a cat. She said she knew Alma, and she knew Redbeard too. She knew things in general, and these things might be what our party needed. Soon the lot of them, heroes, strangers, and maybe a few liars, were packed into a nearby tavern, trying to exact truths like teeth. Morien played coy, Alma and Redbeard were careless, Boko brought up the explosion, the Order of the Emerald Claw, and the monstrous syndicate Dask. And finally, Redbeard offered some useful breadcrumbs. He'd seen Dask smuggling things in the docks, but the tables turned into a cacophony of crosstalk, accusations, and guarded secrets. Eventually, Roland rose with a sigh and left the table in frustration, leaving the noise behind and the shadows to speak their secrets. To the side, Morien leaned toward Boko, voice low. She'd been to the blast site, she said, and it wasn't empty. No, friends, it was the ruins of a laboratory, arcane, experimental, and likely forbidden. She'd even recovered something from it, and with that whisper, Boko's focus sharpened like a blade. He demanded she take him to it, and after some convincing, Morien began to lead them not quickly, not directly, but winding, weaving, snaking through the city. Where is Morien taking them? What was found in the ruins of that strange lab? And is there an actual leader of this group? Let's tune in and find out.
So when we had last left off, Morien was leading most of the group around the dock ward, but Roland had taken on the guise of Morien and wandered his way into a very mix of elegance and flair, this bombastic combination of high-end, upper class, and back alley brawly dock workers inside the Copper Cup. And here, Roland, you had been searching for clues and investigating further on some of the strands of information that had been left from whatever was going on at the festival. The figures that you had been kind of tracing and trying to determine if they were connected to these new individuals that you had found. Now within this rowdy bar, gambling hall, exhibitionist room, what exactly it is up to interpretation, but you see all of these figures gathered at tables, these large staircases upon either side, and this massive gilded cage rising above where two figures square off against each other. What are you doing here?
Wrong time to be eating dinner. Okay. Shit, okay, so last time I was still hunting down whoever had affected Jasira, if I remember correctly, and was trying to differentiate in between the people that we just met and are back in that bar and potentially the figure that I was hunting previously.
Correct.
So gonna start by just wandering around and getting a good look at everything and everybody in here.
Go ahead and give me we'll say just a perception check for now. Just kind of observing from the edge, trying to get a broad view very quickly to understand where you want to direct your attention.
All right.
And keeping this close eye, this place is chaos, but runs so smoothly that it feels almost like it was planned. You can see there is arm to arm these nobles right next to people who smell like they just came fresh out of the sea. There is even upon the bar that kind of stretches half the length of one of these walls that is stacked high with glowing bottles and strange elixirs, that's manned by a barkeep that can flip a glass behind his back. But at the same time, you see that the drinks that they're making range from a fine champagne to a literal gutter brew that almost looks like it came out of a boot to different individuals. And there is such a wide variety of races and ancestries on attire and social status that it's difficult at first to pick out exactly things that should jump out, just because everything would stand out in any other location, and yet here it kind of has its own flair. It has its own way of blending in, but there are a few things that you notice. One, you do see at one of these tables where they're playing some sort of card game, there is a set of individuals, but one kind of stands out to you only because it's somewhat familiar. This goblinoid figure, but in a large mechanical chair with these giant wheels, and his small stubbly hands hold the cards, but these large mechanical arms off the chair are actually moving the betting chips around the table and are waving wildly, or grabbing drinks and bringing them to him. You've seen this individual only a couple of times, but have heard about them multiple times due to their reputation. This is Gazlo Doretti, a member of Split Jolt Salvage, who is known to be one of the more... Is it tinker or artificer type, known to be kind of the mind behind some of the more outlandish mechanics and gadgets that are put to use in Sweetie's crew. I'll say, in addition to that, you also see a few other notable figures, individuals that you've seen around that own like high-end shops, a few nobles. You catch sight of actually a couple of individuals associated with the Zahintrim that you've seen before. One of them you had kind of noticed interacting previously with folks at the gala, and so there's some of these more high-end individuals that are less expected to be down in the dock ward that are just numerous here and seem to be rubbing shoulders like they're old friends.
Why not? While I'm not wearing my face, let's see if we can swing by some of the Zahintrim's conversations and see if I can pick up anything.
Okay. We'll go ahead and say just an investigation check here.
Alrighty.
But go ahead and also give me a stealth or deception on whether you're trying to kind of blend or whether you're trying to I guess how you're trying to blend, if you're using the shadows or if you're using your charismatic aspects to try and move with the crowd to kind of avoid notice and see how much you can get.
I'll give you 3 guesses.
And the first 2 don't count?
Alright, so we'll do stealth. Ooh, that sucks. And then we'll use the guidance for the investigation. Oh, that also sucked. Damn.
One of those nights and rolls, isn't it?
Yeah. So a 12 on stealth and a 16 on investigation.
So
You're not used to being cute.
Oh, there's so many places I want to take that. But as you kind of come up to this table, and you can see multiple groups in this area are playing different types of card games, different dice games, all sorts of gambling endeavors in this kind of central portion of the room. You see a group of individuals, most of them kind of fairly well dressed, even those who seem to be from the rougher parts of town, kind of looking to try and step up to this moment per se. And you try to listen into some of these individuals, what they're talking about. And a lot of the discussion is kind of current events mixed with banter and gentle chatter. But you do kind of pick up on the aspects that are of the biggest events that have still just happened, which was the explosions around town. You hear people kind of chatting back and forth, offering up ideas, offering up suggestions, and it kind of confirms what you've heard up until now, that most people kind of think that this was the first major actual attack on a city by the Order of the Emerald Claw. And you see this member of the Zahintram, and I am trying to look in my notes for his actual name. I think it's Yasemin, but I might need to adjust that. But this figure that you've seen before, they're kind of like a almost an Asian aesthetic to them, with kind of shaved sides on the head, these tattoos that kind of go down around their ear and along their neck. They're kind of fits into that old money vibe where they're calm, cool, collected, waiting for others to propose ideas. And you hear them as they kind of cut into this conversation, offering their own thoughts. Just, don't you think that it is odd that this happened now of all times? I mean, what reason would they have? Where is their motive per se? And if you ask me, clearly they're trying to say something. And yet, the details from our wonderful god are, as always, few and slow to be forthcoming. I've put a few ears to the streets, and I think and at that point they kind of turn. Well, are you interested in joining the table? This is usually a private game, but we might make some exceptions if you can pony up an ante. And you see that they're kind of catching you out of the side of their eyes as you're kind of standing nearby the tables. They can see that you're close enough to be maybe not eavesdropping yet, but they're suspicious of you at least.
Fuck it. Let's roll. Yeah, I'll step up and kind of nod and
sir.
nod and smile and just say, "At your service."
And who exactly is at my service?
Morien.
Morien. That's a lovely name. Morien, I haven't seen you around, I don't think, before. And do you know how to play blackjack?
Sure, not as well as you, but I'll figure it out.
Well, please take a seat. It's 50 gold buy-in.
What's the ante?
It's a 50 gold buy-in. Ante each turn is 5.
We just got paid for something, didn't we? Yeah. I'll pull out 5 platinum pieces and slide them across onto the table.
And quickly the dealer at the table kind of slides over the coins and slides back some of these. They're almost like chips, but these are square chips instead of the normal circular kind of poker chip style. These ones are square, and they almost look like a copper piece, but they're much larger, and they seem to be made of almost like this bronzy like material, but it's much lighter weight than you would expect metal to be.
Sure. Yeah. In the course of playing, I'm gonna pocket one of the chips because it's intriguing.
Okay. And as play begins to go around, people begin to just maneuver, and assuming by your statement that you know the basics, go ahead and give me an investigation check, just to kind of catch what they're doing and try and match their play.
All right. I am proficient with playing cards, so.
Okay. You're already proficient with investigation, but I'll factor that into the DC here.
All right. And I should probably not be casting spells at this table, so I'll turn off guidance. All right, decent.
Yeah, it's familiar enough to you for the most part. As you begin to watch what's happening, you see as this kind of seems somewhat equivalent to what we would call blackjack, but this drawing of cards and comparing their values to try and hit a certain number, and each player can increase the number of cards that they draw or pause at any point. Increasing at some point causes you to break and reach a higher number. But there's a factor in here that is enhanced where there seems to be an additional deck that if you need some sort of extra luck, you can take this other deck that can help you or hurt you, and it's a bit more chance, but it also comes with some additional coins. These small little black markers that get doled out each time someone requests this deck.
Interesting.
And I'll say for now, go ahead and give me a wisdom check with proficiency to try and move through a few of these plays while this conversation is happening.
All right. I'll do insight because I have proficiency in that. I'll take 10s all night if I have to. Better than what I was rolling before.
And for now, you seem competent enough. Like the play, this is a long-term game, and the hands go by very quickly. And so you lose some, you win some, but more important than anything, you're giving the flow that you know and are familiar with this game, and you start to pick up more and more of these mechanics as the conversation returns back to where it once was. And this individual who now introduces themselves to you, along with some of the others at the table, you're introduced to a Yasemin Morien, is the member of the Zahintrum that you've been talking to, and he kind of asks you, what is it that you think happened with the explosions? Are you like most else who believe it's a sign from the terrorist organization of the Order?
Someone certainly went to a great deal of effort to make it appear that way.
You think that it's not them then? Someone trying to impersonate?
trying to remember how much of the conversation I caught back with the other group.
So you had caught most of it up until Morien was talking about actually being there and what she found beneath.
Okay.
Or what they found, excuse me.
It all depends on what exactly got hit, of course. If that was a legitimate target, then wouldn't a terrorist organization be a good fall group? If someone were trying to make moves without claiming them?
You got a smart head on your shoulders there, Morien. That's where my mind was at first as well. It was so overt that everyone immediately had one name on their mind. But from what I hear from my own sources, the tower that exploded, it was abandoned, empty for some decades. Used to be an old wizard tower, I believe.
And since when are old wizard towers uninteresting?
I think they might be very interesting, but the pieces don't quite add up, don't you think? Why such an obvious message from an organization that is no strangers to causing mayhem and not have any casualties? If you're going to send a message, you might as well make it a bloody one, no?
Yes. That would be a rather unfortunate train of thought.
So if you think it is a cover-up, what do you think they're covering up?
Oh no, I wouldn't know.
Oh, no one comes into the Copper Cup without looking for some sort of interest or intrigue. You must have some sort of ideas.
Well, near as I could tell is if you want that particular building gone, then there's got to be something in it.
And don't you find it interesting how we haven't heard what's in it yet? I mean, it's only been a day, but it's still a day. The fires are almost out. You would think that they'd have some idea.
Precisely.
Well, what do you think, Habaloo? And he kind of turns, and there's this larger half-orc gentleman who's kind of wearing like a newsy cap and kind of a dusty leather apron, got bigger gray skin, and he kind of looks over. I think you're thinking too much into this. Clearly there was nobody in the building, so they didn't want to hurt anyone. Maybe the Emerald Claw is just not so... ain't got the fangs that you think it does. Maybe those claws are more like dainty nails.
I will check Morien's nails.
What are Morien's nails like? Who cares?
Clean and well groomed.
Would you say dainty?
I would not say dainty. No, they're quite sharp and pointed, almost like claws, but...
I think that it'd be wonderful to know what's inside that building. See if it has any remaining secrets from when it was a wizard tower. Like you mentioned, Morien, it's feels like there's something missing. And if it was meant to be a sign, perhaps the Emerald Claw is not quite the aggressive terrorist organization that we've been led to believe, but if it was made to look like them, to further on an agenda, perhaps, maybe there's nothing within the tower at all, and it's more what the movers of this city can get out of it. Morien, I must admit I'm not familiar with you or your name. Do you have a family name or an organization that you represent?
Not in this part of town.
A high-end see, from your attire, perhaps the North Ward? That's the realm of the Zahint, no?
Oh. Well, now that's definitely a name I wouldn't be throwing around in polite company, now is it?
She thinks it's polite company. You have not been a frequenter of the Copper Cup, I suppose. Is this your first time in?
How about we get to the next hand?
Go ahead and give me another insight check.
All damn night, apparently.
Yeah, apparently.
That's 3 10s in a row.
Is there anything else that you're trying to get out of this interaction with these individuals as you move through hands later and later into the evening?
If I haven't gotten anything by this point, I'm probably not. I was mostly just trying to not be suspicious and pass it off and, you know, get them talking, so now I have more faces and voices. So at a certain point, I would probably excuse myself and keep walking around, see if Gazlo is still having fun.
Okay.
Keep an eye on him, because we were supposed to be laying low, and he's living large, so...
And in the meantime, I'll say as you continue on to playing a few hands before continuing on into the evening here, headed to check on Gazlo. The others have been maneuvering around the dock ward, trying to identify or trying to
back to there.
to be led by Morien to whatever they had found. And eventually Morien leads you to a location within the docks, but it's not so much a place as it is kind of a street. And Morien, as you are looking around, you catch the sight of Garrick kind of leaning up against the wall. And you see that they kind of hold out something in their hands as you're kind of maneuvering by. Up to you if you want to make another introduction or if you want to swipe it and show it off to individuals later.
Alma is also with us. Does she say anything?
So Alma is not
I have
the
a
most...
choice as to whether it's discreet.
Alma is not the most perceptive, and
Okay.
you have the opportunity, if you would like, to try and make this as to try and lead this to try and attempt it to be discreet.
I would like to try to make it discreet.
All right, then just give me yeah.
And so I will. Morgan would probably wink at them to show that they see them. They see Garrick.
And just go ahead and give me a sleight of hand check here.
Not my best, darling. I don't have advantage.
Okay. Luckily Alma is not definitely not the most perceptive, and with a 4, she doesn't catch sight of them. However, some of the others who are here, you all do catch sight of
Their
this.
passive catches it, yeah.
Yeah, so Boko, Jasira, Rhea, the 3 of you at least do catch as there is some sort of handoff that is made. As Morien is kind of leading, she kind of moves over to the crowd, and you see a some sort of pass between an individual there. And this individual is large. They're kind of wearing this cloak to help them blend in, and it's darkened here, but you can see not only are they large in figure, but they also have what looks to be a mechanical hand that they pass it off. And quickly they begin to kind of head into the crowd as Morien weaves her way back. Only gone but a fraction of a moment, but enough for the three of you to catch sight. And Morien, are you continuing to lead them along?
Yes. Although I do message to Garrick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm going to lead them to a sort of quiet area not too far from there. I certainly know where all the shadows are.
Mm-hmm.
I'll lead them to like an abandoned warehouse or something and duck inside.
All right. As you duck inside and the others all kind of follow you in, this area in here, it's a large open building, kind of a broken door that Morien has kind of levered off to the side to allow everyone in and shifted back. It's dark in here. There is some basic light, but this space has not been used for some time. And Boko kind of looks around. This does not look like some sort of hideout.
Darling, you're so perceptive. It's quite scintillating to see. And Morien takes out a book and starts to hand it to Boku, and then kind of glances over at Jasira and hands it to Jasira to inspect first.
Let's check out this book.
Jasira, you flip through this tome and it's been scorched and burned in certain portions. It's kind of a leather book with thick pages, and you begin to kind of flip through and it doesn't quite make sense at first. There's lots of it that is in like almost like a code, perhaps. This strange equations that seem to have some arcane nature, and many of them are kind of smeared and some of them have been burnt through, and it looks like nonsense to you, but it seems maybe somewhat important.
Is there any detail in the book or on the cover or anything that could give her a little bit more of maybe what the meaning of the text could be?
Sure, give me an investigation check.
Cool. I do believe that is that something else? No, it's just regular investigation.
And Morien gives a casual shrug. I confess I could make nothing of it, nor could my compatriots, but perhaps
neither can she. Neither can she.
Artie's doing real good tonight, guys.
You look through
I just
this...
imagine Jasira like lifting it upside down, like, I don't know about this.
And in the middle of...
So why did you take us...
Go ahead.
Why did you take us to the middle of nowhere to show us the book you presumably have had since you got here?
Well, because I didn't have it, darling, obviously.
Okay, and starting to piece together, like, as we walked through. And, why here? Is this just because it's quiet?
It's quiet, it's discreet, it doesn't say anything beyond what it is.
It would be a good place
like
for an ambush.
It's also good neutral territory. Neither ours nor yours.
Speaking of things who don't say more than they are, I'm I'm generally a pretty nice, trusting guy, and you're starting to really concern me here, Morien. That why?
It's us catching up. Good job.
She gives me compliments like that a lot too.
Of course I do, Alma, darling. You are such a dear.
Why have we followed her into the middle of the dark? She is clearly not who we're supposed to be interacting with. She either knows more than she's telling, and is a villain, or she doesn't know shit and is probably a scoundrel. That I think my patience is wearing as thin as Roland's is here at this point.
This book.
With all due respect, of course.
You said
Of
you found this
course,
book
darling.
within the tower that exploded.
Yes.
And you do not know what is inside, but it seems to be some sort of arcane writing? Some sort of
And
important.
And it was from a laboratory that had some alchemical miscellany about it at the epicenter of what had been the explosion.
Do you have any description of what was there in the center? What it looked like, what it did? Colors, sizes?
It looked like a laboratory. I mean, it looked scorched. It looked scrambling through my notes to see what the description was. It was crumbled down. It looked as though there had been current masonry work.
The book is something that we can look into. We are able to hold on to it, or are you wanting it back?
And I'll glance over at Redbeard.
He kind of shrugs. He's like,
We would at least want access to it, of course. It was our find.
yeah, what she said. You know, we want to find out what was going on. So, you know, if you find answers, you pass them along to us, and everybody's wiser. If we find something helpful from this book, then perhaps we can show you. You mentioned that you knew where some smuggling was happening in the docks. Perhaps that is a better place to go this evening, and we shall research the book on our own, yes? And then we can leave this warehouse.
I'm going to I'm going to look a little deeper for intent in Boku's thoughts again.
You are unable to get deeper. Seems
Now
that
I'm looking at Boku with suspicion.
it seems that with the focus that they have had and the suspicion that their walls are up, and at least for now, their mental capacity is enough to keep you at bay. Boko kind of looks at Clyde and Jasira and Renny. What do you all think? Should we head now to the docks, or should we head back to the Seventh Eye?
I think Roland will want to look at the book.
I think if we go to the docks now, we're probably going to get beat up like the orc always says he does. So maybe we go look at this book, let Roland look at this book after it calms down.
There's a book.
Might I suggest that you secure it and not take the book down to the docks? You note that I also did not.
And Clyde, you do remember when you did the sending that Roland let you know that he was in the copper cup?
I remember, like Bill, but look at myself.
You should definitely waltz the book in there. Hold it over your head. Well, have Jasira pick you up. Hold it over your head and go, Roland!
The problem is,
Wait,
Clyde needs
wait.
to make
Real
some
quick.
money for his next trip to Kobold or go home.
What was that,
I
Bree?
mean, so side note, I believe the ring of shared hands can be used once a day. And Roland currently
Gotta go
has
look at it.
But I know, I'm trying to find it really quick. I'm just like, that sounds right.
Oh.
Just playing
Or is that one to
cards and
red?
suddenly, douche, a book just out on the table.
Well, before you do that, I can warn him.
Once per short rest. Have we short rested?
And it would be
I feel like we
Morien
might
dropping
have.
the book on the
It's been,
table.
like, days.
Yes.
Like a day or so.
It's been a while since you guys did it last.
All right. Well, anyway,
It's
just
been a
saying that it's
while.
totally an option. Just saying. Anyway.
I mean, if we do that, we can go down to the
You
docks and get beat
darling.
up with the orc.
Right now, Jasira's kind of like hugging the weird book to her chest, kind of protectively. Now that it's kind of like semi-ours, semi-theirs.
So how
You
weird
possess
is
it, it's
this weird
yours.
book?
My book.
What was that, Joe?
So how weird is this weird book?
Pretty weird.
What?
You want to look at it?
Scale of
Perfect
1
anyway.
to Ghost Arm. How weird is this book?
I can't read it. I think we need a more intellectual type.
Wait. Oh, did I get rid of that because it never came up? I cannot in fact
Accurate.
read it.
Which is almost the same people.
I think I got rid of that spell like 2 level ups ago
Rip.
because it never came up.
So Jasira, if you can't read it, there's a high likelihood I can't read it. I make it a point not to touch shit that I don't understand. So I don't.
Jasira's kind of like, Jasira's kind of like whispers in your ear. I don't really read anyway.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, y'all want me to
Said.
tell Roland about the weird, creepy book we got now?
Oh, he'll
I
be
think
thrilled.
The book is going back to Roland. I think the decision making between our marvelous party leader Boko and him need to figure out our next move. But, until then, where should we find you when we know more? That where would you like a message sent? Where will you be staying?
Right next to you, darling, of course.
Wait, we are?
No,
Oh, you don't have to, Alma. You don't have to, Alma. But I think at least one of us should stay in their company.
I'd prefer Alma then, no offense. I actually understand her when she's talking to me. Your verbal gymnastics is quite a feat.
I thought that was
Thank
just
you, my dear. I
Drake doing
pride
that.
myself on it.
Jasira just says it like it is, bro. Curb stomp.
Well, Morien, I don't
So-
mind going with them. I mean, we could always meet up again tomorrow or the next day. And I could just, I could find out more about what Jasira, where she came from, and why she looks like she looks like me.
She does look like you. And I'm looking kind of sternly at Jasira. And hopefully she's as nice as you, too.
She looks lovely.
Jasira just kind of gestures to the group, like, what do you think?
So, I think, not to be insane here, but I must repeat myself. Where will you be staying, Morien? Not be with.
I can find you.
That's worrisome.
She's like that sometimes. You just gotta get used to it. If you want a more tangible location, we often frequent, well, at least I'm always in the docks. And so you can send it to the Mule School Tavern. That's usually where I hit up after our jaunty adventures on the sea.
Of course, of course. You
Excellent.
will
Thank
understand
you,
I
Redbeard.
may not want to walk all that way. If I talk in your head, you might get a headache. Just ignore that.
Really?
Are you saying headaches are a side effect of message?
No, it's
They
a
are?
side effect
Specifically
of
from
Ghost
him.
Arm.
Oh, it's the
I was going to say they
The
are
side effect of Clyde.
normally a side effect. Are you saying
Dealing
you're
with some
quite
things.
clumsy in your attempts?
I'm getting better. I can also hurt myself now.
Excellent. So we will find you at that tavern when and if we have more information. I bid you a wonderful night. And Renny's starting to get fed up and is gonna try and bring the party back where we belong and get Roland and get a second opinion on what the hell's going on.
Are you all?
I will offer to Clyde, sort of in passing, would you like some lessons, darling?
Oh, no, I'm more the type to bumble around until I get fucked up a few times.
Clyde, can you give me an
If it
insight
gets
check?
too bad. Uh-oh. No? Yes?
I can teach you to refine your technique, should you desire.
Ghost Arm. This should not be an advantage for whatever it did. Hey, look, a 10!
10's coming up
We
all over
love
the
those
place.
tens.
Morien seems slightly insistent here, and it just like causes you to just process one more time, and it's like you don't quite notice anything on why, but it just in their cool demeanor, they've kind of let things go, but this
Yep.
was repeated.
Clyde notices because it's the first person to show any interest in the fact that when he uses normal magics, it causes random pain to people, and he has a ghost arm!
Hey, you know, the rest of us just don't kink shame, okay?
This has just become
Okay.
the norm at this point.
But
That would
also,
just
we
be-
only just learned about Jasira's night terrors, so you know, it's fine.
But I'll definitely think about it more, but I'm starting to get it. Once I hit a roadblock, I'll hit you up. I think I get this figured out.
Delighted. At your service, as always.
And so, are you guys as a group going to find Roland at the Copper Cup? Or are you looking to?
Oh, no. Clyde is going to send Roland and is going to just hurt Roland in the middle of his poker game and tell him that we found creepy, weird book. It's Jasira's now. Meet us back when you're done at the Seventh Eye.
I have to go.
But also, you take 2 radiant damage.
I have to go.
Roland, go ahead and give me a d6.
A D6. Oh no. This is for how much money I lost.
Nope.
Sending of the day. Oh, full
How
6.
much you
For how
won,
much damage
sir.
I take.
All right. So, Roland, back at the Copper Cup, you have since gone through and played a few hands, and for the most part, you've done well enough. You've ended up making 9 gold on top of your initial. So go ahead and take back the 5 platinum and add 9 gold to it. And you excuse
Nice.
yourself from the table, maneuvering around to try and find where you had seen Duretti, and find him at another table laughing and bellowing loudly. And you know, even laying low for this individual, he is a loud presence. Just a hefty, portly goblin in a giant mechanical chair with a ego as big as possible, and you see him doused heavily in drink, kind of polishing off glasses, and you, with your careful eye, can kind of catch the reflections of the glasses, kind of catching someone else's cards before he puts them back on with a chortle. And how are you going up and discussing with him, or just wanted to kind of check in on where he's at?
I mostly wanted to check in. But gosh, this is where I wish I had message so I could give people headaches.
Headaches.
Don't worry, I got big plans for this ability that'll never come to use.
If we're supposed to be laying low and he's living large, I kind of want to hang out, and I wouldn't, because I've already been caught once as well.
You do get to send a response to me before you leave.
Well,
has the message hit?
No, it hasn't yet.
Oh, I haven't sent. Okay, sorry. Tell me you're on a hot streak and you'll be back later. Clyde will understand.
I'm gonna go get a drink and keep an eye on him from across the room and see if, like, I don't know, if he's giving any indications that are non-characteristic for him before I get closer.
Okay. Just give me an insight at advantage here.
Okay. There we go.
He's giving every indication that things are as normal as possible with him.
Okay.
He is probably not taking to heart the guidance of laying low. He probably just found a building and was like, I'm gonna lay low by only being here. It looks like he probably hasn't left in who knows how long, and he's on a full bender. Like, you can see he is very intoxicated. There's a small little arcane construct on his shoulder that he keeps talking to as if it's talking back. And the table has probably changed 2 or 3 times just in the amount of time that you've been here, and he's still kind of going at things like nothing has changed. There is a pile of chips beside him that goes down and up and down and up, and it doesn't seem to affect his mood at all. But I will say that as you're kind of watching him, you also catch sight of 2 figures a couple tables away that keep giving glances over at him and kind of watching him with very careful consideration. And one of them kind of seems to be a pretty burly human man with a big bushy mustache, and the other one is kind of a strong-armed orcish individual. We got kind of that greenish skin. He's wearing kind of this thicker jacket that kind of hangs down almost to his boots. They both look like rough and tumble and very strong individuals, and they're keeping a careful eye. You can see watching what he's doing, keeping track of him, and even though he hasn't moved, they're constantly watching and looking over at his table.
Okay. I'm gonna go talk to the bartender's probably pretty freaking busy. Are there any other like management around, keeping an eye on the place?
Looking through, I'll say that for the most part, this place feels like there is no management. However, with your careful eye, you can see a little bit more than most people catch. And you see that there are a couple of bouncers that are around. There's multiple bartenders and waitresses, but also kind of observing the top or from above. You can see that there appears to be some sort of room with kind of like one-way glass where you can see just kind of the outline of some of the shapes, kind of watching like a casino owner watching the floor.
Okay. I'll start with the bartender, of just if I can catch his attention at some point, order a drink, and then just say, "Those two, who are they? They look at people pretty intensely, and I want to know if they're people I need to avoid." Trying to play up a sort of damsel in distress vibe.
Give me a persuasion check. I'll say
My favorite.
Yeah, just a persuasion check, I think, for here.
Yay. Prayer for guidance beforehand.
Sure. Not bad at
Fuck
all.
yes. An 18.
Yeah, you give this kind of words over to the bartender, and they give a quick glance over. Oh, no, I wouldn't mess with any of those figures. There's plenty of folks that you don't want to get into. Don't want to get to alone, you know. There's plenty of nasty individuals, but you'll be safe inside here. Don't you worry. We keep a careful eye on all our drinks, and as long as you don't go outside with anyone who you don't trust, you should be all right.
Oh, thank you so much. If you could just keep an eye on them, and in case they go after anyone else, that would be good to have. I don't know if you got like bouncers or anything around that could prevent them from doing anything unsavory.
We'll keep an eye on them. Don't you worry.
Thank you so much. And I'll slide. I'll tip 100% on the drink, essentially.
Okay. Is there anything?
And then
yeah.
Take the drink. Keep walking around.
Sorry, was there something else?
I'm gonna see. Yeah, there's one more thing. I'm gonna see if I can swing past him and just like brush the automaton on his shoulder that he's talking to, and then use my magical tinkering to make it emit a sound, which would be normal speaking volume, so on his shoulder in a raucous room should be basically like whispering in his ear, and basically just point out like, those two guys over there, they're watching you, be careful.
Okay.
And with like a direction from him.
And as this voice kind of comes through, you see that...
And then just move away.
Yeah. You see a moment of lucidity, and you kind of catch that there is a bit more at play here than it first appeared. And even though he's very intoxicated, he is conscious enough to kind of clock what was done and kind of look around for whoever was helping him, and just in this moment you've blended into the crowd, and if he did catch sight of you, he must not have recognized you. And
as soon as he like shows that he's clocked what's going on, I will cancel the effect.
Okay. And I'll say not too long after this, as you're kind of maneuvering through the crowd, is when Clyde's message finally reaches you.
And I'll. Does he say where to meet?
I think he said that they were headed back to the Seventh Eye.
I'm muted. Yes, I did.
Okay. I'll just say, I'll meet you there. There's nothing else here that I can do.
Well, I gets that. Well, Roland's been slacking off. He'll meet us back there.
All right. And after some time, as this evening has gone on, it is late now. And Redbeard and Morien, at least as far as you can tell, have made their taken their leave, staying within the dock ward. And the rest of you have continued back up to where the Seventh Eye is on Trollskull Alley. And Jasira, are you keeping Alma along?
You're muted.
I guess. Yeah, I had to find the mute. I guess that was going to be a question for the group. Was is it just?
Do we dismiss her or do we let her come with?
Yeah, is it just Morien that we're kind of very extremely off put by?
Yeah, like Alma, she's gonna tell Morien everything. But, I mean...
So just filter thoughts. Filter words.
I'll try that one.
She can have story time with Grampy Clyde. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll go with Grampy.
Grampy Clyde.
Words. See, I can't do the verbal gymnastics. It's fine.
No, there's definitely something to be said for that. That anyone who cannot speak plainly is either unsure themselves or they're cheating you. Trust me, I know. But ever since she showed up at exactly the right place at exactly the right time with something mildly interesting to us and refused to give a straight answer, it seems more and more likely that we're going down the wrong path by associating with her. That I've never claimed to be wise. I've never really even claimed to be close. But even I have just enough common sense not to touch that with a 10-foot pole. So...
Huh, I didn't really notice.
If we have to, we can get some more information. But I don't like it, and I don't think it ends well for us.
So you're saying I probably shouldn't take those lessons they offered?
Odds nah.
The only thing that would be worse than, like, chlamydia would probably be to go and participate in that.
Oh gosh.
Great Restoration is no joke, guys.
Also, chlamydia is largely asymptomatic.
Oh my god.
Brutal.
He probably a carrier. It's fine.
The one thing I remember from freshman year PE.
The only thing you needed,
Yeah.
right?
We had very different PE classes.
I was gonna say, I don't
believe it.
What?
No. I feel like his PE teacher was
health
expressing some
class.
things.
Well, it's health class. Like 9th grade, you had health class and PE, so maybe he had.
Freshman year of college.
Oh.
No, he was working through some things.
Now you're losing me, bro.
It was
You're losing
online.
me. All I know
No,
is
I'm-
Mean Girls. They have the coach being like,
Yes.
just don't have
yes.
sex because you will get chlamydia and die.
Die. Yes. And you'll never know what did it because it's largely asymptomatic.
Yeah. Digress.
So no, I'll leave the final call to the Boko and Roland Brain Trust.
Oh, is that our leader, the Boko Roland conglomerate?
We are definitely a
But,
conglomerate, so we need to talk to Roland about it. But I think Boko was at least pro Alma, but he was also getting kind of frustrated with Morien.
I am
That's where I got my name.
I'm
This
decidedly
week.
anti-Morien. I'm probably neutral on the other two. So, well, and
I
again,
can't wait
like,
to make some
zero
real money with that
hesitation in
fighter.
doing this and discussing this in front of Alma. Like, there's like zero respect here, whatsoever.
Alma is still smiling away. She's
Probably
like,
thinks
Oh,
it's
she's gonna
compliments.
stab one of us in our
Like-
sleep.
"Oh, a firefly."
Don't worry. Don't worry, Jasira can stab back. It's fine. But
No,
also,
I,
A little stabbing at the
sleepover.
party.
Yeah, that's what always happens. You paint each other's nails, then you stab each other. It's fine.
But no, like, start to consider it from somebody's perspective who does mean us ill. Who would be the one person or the one type of person that would be able to get close to the group? They would have what kinds of information? They would be doing what with that information? It would be somebody with a silver tongue and something vaguely useful. So,
Roland.
If I wanted to get close
Exactly,
to somebody,
like-
I'd just ask.
And you know what? We really appreciate your honesty,
Very refreshing.
and I'm sorry I pinned you to the ground earlier. That was a little rude, but you did kind of act a little suspicious.
I
That
should
is
have
my
just asked
input.
earlier. I'd always wanted
Yeah.
to, but it seemed like I should get some information first to know what to say, you know?
Talking to people's hard. Especially new people. I just stared at most of these people for a while. Until they eventually talked to me.
We were naked!
And
No. It does work. It's good icebreaker.
and But yeah, I do believe confirmed. Roland's first words to Jasira were technically in Elvish, because he was like, "She looks like an elf," and then she was like, "Uh-huh," and that was
Were they?
basically it. I'm pretty sure.
About that. I was showing off, wasn't I?
It's only been 1,000,000 years. It's fine.
One day we'll wake up back at that bridge.
Oh my gosh.
Can we not? No more hentai, please.
That bear.
Uh,
the right to keep bear arms in your bag of holding?
I think
So I
we
assume
ended
this
up
is
with the right to keep bear eyes because he had several.
Yeah, you
I
all
assume this is basically our chat back to the seventh eye.
exactly. And
Yeah.
at this point, it's well into the evening. It's probably about 9 or 10 p.m. And you get back to the seventh eye, coming inside. And when you enter, the goblin who's kind of working behind the counter, just catches Jasira's attention. Just somebody dropped by looking for you. He said his name was Drago. He looked like a nice, he looked like a well-dressed guy, and I don't know if I really go for that, but you know, to each their own.
Was there a message?
Rocky, did he say anything about a message? He just came by. No, he came by, he asked for Jasira, and wanted to make sure that she was okay, I think. He just told us to tell you that he dropped by. I think that was it. Yeah, that was it.
Brago.
Thank you. That's very nice. If he comes back and we're gone, I am existing. I am not psychotic right now.
Currently.
That's always a little
Currently.
bit disappointing.
I know. But who knows? Maybe tonight.
I always
She's
love a
mostly joking.
psychotic night. Sometimes you gotta get it out of your system. Oh, and she looks over at Clyde. Here's our earnings for the day, and drops over 3 copper pieces into your hand.
Nice. 3 copper. What up? Rolling in it.
It's
People
a start.
really liked the buns.
This is the food. It's the food.
Really liked the buns, you say?
Really liked the buns. Yep.
That kind of neighborhood.
I will say, can't
I'm not
confirm
shocked.
it is the
It's
food,
fine,
or is
it's
it like is it
Every-
the bun?
We're not going to be day to day is not what's going to sustain us. It's going to be the big buyers. We just got to get them in here.
I had Rocky out on the street. He was waving a sign. Nobody came
Aw.
in after the buns were gone. But we're
Who
working
made
on
the
it.
sign?
Well, I made the
so
sign.
Step 1, more buns. Step
And-
2, tell Drago, tell his rich friends.
You see like a hastily scrawled sign on the side, and it's not at all spelled right. It's barely
No, I thought it was
legible.
Legible.
Yeah.
It's like BUNZ.
Buns and stuffs.
And now they think the store is called Buns and Stuff.
You know,
That's only going to increase our foot traffic.
I do like that
Oh no,
name way
not the
better.
feet too.
That's where we make the real money.
That's the stuff, dude.
I don't know, man. I don't like foot stuff.
Oh man, are they gonna be Clyde's feet? Because I have some bad news about Clyde's feet, guys.
Oh no, not the 150-year-old dogs. Like...
Dude
To be
definitely has
determined.
athlete's foot despite
Oh,
not
yeah.
being an athlete.
And not wearing shoes ever.
Oh.
And now Roland will never not wear shoes. Gonna stock up on foot
Is
powder
Roland
now.
back yet?
Yeah, I'll say around this time, Roland comes into the what even is this? What do we call
Buns
this?
and stuff.
Buns.
Buns and stuff.
It's like a shop,
greatest
but
shop
also a
in town.
place. Yeah, it comes into the shop. Sure. And
Still
since
wearing
you're
Morien's face, incidentally.
Hey, I thought you weren't coming there. What changed? Where's Redbeard? Why'd you leave him?
What are you talking about? I told you I would meet you here.
You're looking
Roland.
different.
Oh, we'll just like kind of turn around and. Okay, better.
Ah, much.
Have me worried. I don't think Redbeard survived very long by himself.
We're going to get into that later. You said there was a book.
Yeah, it's Jasira's now, so you gotta fight her for it.
and I imagine
I can't even read it, bro.
I imagine Boko has been looking over this book and on the side like
Constantly.
since they got back.
No, Clyde says Jasira's book, and you turn around and Boko
Just
has
like
it over.
writing down notes. Yeah.
Yeah, I 100% can see him just yanking it out of her hand, and she's just like, whatever. It's just a book. I can't read it anyway. You know.
All right, I will go take a look at the book.
Give me an Arcana check here.
There are my languages, by the way, and then leave guidance on and Arcana.
There's that
Ugh.
elvish.
Ah.
So as you come
Terrible.
over,
15.
you see Boko kind of putting notes across on pages, trying to decipher what's inside here. And he kind of points out a few things. It seems that this is written in some sort of code. I'm not familiar with what its source is, but I have pulled a few things from the patterns, and there are many arcane sigils that have been experimented with. And Roland, you can see some of them that Boko has kind of copied and started to examine. And Boko isn't the most trained in arcane knowledge either, but you start to get pieces of this. And one of the key kind of spell terms that you're able to ascertain, at least in this initial look, is the word harvest is kind of key to these, at least to the first handful of these arcane sigils. It looks like they're trying to do some sort of spell or some sort of ritual that has this kind of key idea at the center.
You know, in a rural farming community, I would say this is a very good thing. In the middle of a massive city, less so.
What does it say?
I'm not able to get very much out of it so far, except for... And he'll look up and see Alma.
Yeah, she came with.
Wait,
Would you like us to dismiss her too, Roland?
okay, well, now we can get
Jasira,
into
do you
it.
mind go having your stab party in the back for a bit?
And Jasira and Alma have just been kind of casually chatting off to the side. Jasira, are you gonna take Alma off to another room?
Well, Jasira's gonna kind of like, I'm doing great. I've got her distracted. It's fine. And then, yeah, she'll kind of just take her to, like, another room. But,
All
so,
right.
but have her, so, like, she's, like, towards the hallway.
Go
So
show her where we
if
make the bun.
Roland's loud. You know, yeah. And then if she can, like, maybe hear anything, she might try to, but, you know.
So,
We'll clue you in as we're not going to withhold information from you.
Yeah.
But
you brought her back, but not the other two.
so
Hey, there's some bad vibes.
yeah, it got to the point of you will be leaving, and we're going to let you and Boko decide if we're going to do anything further with them. That they've been a nuisance, and won't give anyone a straight answer. Keep doing other things back and forth. To keep the peace, it was agreed that Alma was coming with at the moment. But
So I'm not going crazy.
No, this you were right on in leaving. The rest of us probably should have too. Depending on how useful this book is going to be whether or not I regret not coming with you.
Wait, where did you get this book?
From Morien.
The girls on earth. I should have done this first. And I'm going to sit down and start casting Identify on the book to make sure that there isn't some hinky shit going on with it.
Yeah, you cast Identify, and there are some, you get some abjuration magics on here. And as it begins to coalesce, you see that there are some basic enchantments on the pages to kind of keep them, to protect them. And that's why, even despite the intensity of the blaze, they have remained in some form and only taken moderate damage.
Sorry, could you repeat that? I got distracted by the kinky shit.
The hinky shit. Yeah, there. So the book doesn't seem to be magical innately, but the pages have like an abjuration spell cast upon them to keep them from to protect them so that they last longer, and that's why they weren't completely destroyed in the blaze.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. Okay. It's safe. I do not get along with people who evade questions. I tried to be nice. It did not work. I left.
I tried to extend one last olive branch, and it did not work either, and therefore she left. But we'll figure it out.
So we came out of it with less sarcasm and more books. We win.
I can up sarcasm if you need me to.
Roland just fixes a withering glare at you.
Clyde's not even looking at you. He's setting up the spoon still because the past couple nights he's been busy.
Ooh. Question.
Potential answer.
I don't know if this has been addressed yet, but when I morph, what happens to the blue eye?
That's a good question that I haven't thought about.
It wouldn't have made an impact
Yeah.
with Morien because that is the eye that she has a patch over.
Yeah. So
Looking at the picture. So, like, that would have worked out well if it persists this time.
I think that your changes only affect your physicality. So anything that has been like augmented or added would probably remain the same typically. If you wanted to try and change that, you have a party full of tinkerers and could certainly try and put something together since it is relatively small. But currently I think that yeah.
Okay, so the blue eye persists. Interesting. That eye patch is going to come in real handy.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. I'll let them know that the only thing I'm getting out of the book right now is the term harvest, which they said they recovered it from the site of the explosion.
That is what they said.
So, that is concerning. Harvest, middle of a big city, big explosion, green, magical, fire.
So like a euphemism for killing people. If that's where it indeed is from.
Harvesting souls.
Okay. A little better, but not much. Gives a look at Boko.
And
Harvesting
Jasira?
souls generally involves killing people. And ensuring they can't be brought back and do not proceed to the afterlife.
So, the Emerald Claw, would that be something they'd perceivably want to be doing?
That's what brings me into what I was up to tonight.
You were just sitting around stewing?
No. When have you ever seen me just sit around and stew?
Like,
Fair enough.
couple times. I seen you mope.
Are
I
you
may be
not?
outwardly dormant, but my mind stays active.
Are you supposed to snore when you do that?
Outwardly dormant is how I would describe you 24/7.
That's why he's the leader, right?
Yep.
No.
Beloved team leader.
I went down to the Copper Cup. I was trying to see if there were differences in the description that Jasira had, and between that description and Alma. Didn't find anything of consequence, so I decided to see how people would react to seeing Morien.
And
Were they as
Nothing-
shocked as I was when you came in?
Actually, that's pretty much exactly what it was. No particular recognition, but just dislike, strangeness. It was weird. But no one outright assaulted me. So I don't know. But as part of that, I figured I'd creep around a little bit while not wearing my own face. And, ended up playing blackjack with the Zehenterim.
How much you make?
9 gold.
Damn.
And what do they know about all this? Have they been they're out and about, that's good. That I guess kind of the same way we're out and about. Did you hear anything?
I didn't hear any smoking gun admission of guilt. But there was a general feeling of this wasn't the Emerald Claw.
Okay. So it wasn't the Emerald Claw, and presumably it wasn't them, or they wouldn't be musing. And it wasn't us.
Unless
least
he
it-
was also fishing for information and trying to get me to say I thought it was them.
Okay. Have we actually gone back and talked to our boss? Like,
I
since
did.
any of this? Okay. It
She said
wasn't
that-
us, right?
It was not us.
I
Okay,
didn't
good.
do it.
All right.
It
Huh.
could be the Dusk, as we've been
Thinking.
hearing from others
Yeah.
of questionable trust.
Yeah.
I don't think it was us. I don't know if it was the Zehenterim.
It doesn't seem like their style. They like money more than they like explosions.
The thing that he questioned is that there were no casualties. If it were the Emerald Claw, they would have picked a more
The Emerald
populated
Claw
area
likes-
to send
yeah.
a message.
Okay, fair enough. So is this more of a false flag? Is this trying to incite something? The ability to make a show of something, make a spectacle, rally a cause, but not actually cause much in the way of important losses or casualties? If so, who
excuse
gains? Who
for-
wins?
An excuse for increased police presence, an excuse to bring in outside mercenaries. Maybe someone has a band of outside mercenaries they want to get hired. That or there was actually something in that building that either needed to be covered up or opened up so it could be raided.
Okay. Do we want to go take a look?
He also mentioned that it used to be an old wizard's tower.
Has already been looted?
If it hasn't, there's likely still multiple lingering wards.
That's what I was wondering. You usually don't want to be in the first team to go into an old wizard tower.
Could we
Second
get a
or third
message
team,
to
pretty
the
safe.
old wizard? That, the professor might know a little bit. Do you think we could get word to him quickly?
Can we get the keys?
Possibly. Possibly. That might be a good...
I'd rather that
Avenue of
than getting
approach.
shot or exploded or any of the other crazy things they always do up in them.
Let's
Indeed.
head out tomorrow and look at it. Let's see if we can talk to some of the political powers that be to see if we can find out anything else to help with our query to the professor about which wizard or what about it. And let's see if we can get him on it. That he did agree that he would be willing to assist us in the future, talk with us in the future. And I don't know, all the old wizards kind of know each other, right? Or at least, like, knew of each other. So, before we start
That's
trying to
wizardist.
raid the wizard tower, that's probably at least useful.
I agree. The early bird may get the worm, but the second mouse gets the cheese.
Exactly. So, do we want to hit the hay and then go speak with the politicians tomorrow? It's like super late, right? It's like 3, 4 in the morning.
It's like 10 p.m.
Oh, that's not bad.
So basically...
But the other important question, do we shed the barnacles? Do we, or do we think that they're more useful than, dangerous?
Let's not burn any bridges until we know what this book is.
Alright. That's wise, that makes sense.
But also...
I've lived my whole life going on gut feeling. And my gut feeling's telling me to run as fast as I can in the other direction, while hollering incoherently. So, like, it might be tough to have gotten a stronger gut reaction than this ever has given me. But,
I've lived my entire life off of the assimilation of data. And I assimilated 0 data from those conversations.
I trust you. You've saved my life repeatedly. You've helped me with, like, most of our job. I will defer to you. But I have got 520,000 cents here that are all telling me that this is a bad idea.
Oh, I'm agreeing with you.
But, like, it being a bad idea and it not being the right course of action aren't always separate instances. So, sometimes you have to work with bad ideas and bad people, and I do get that. So I'm willing to. I'm willing to do it politely.
Think of our stock after it if we can loot a whole mage tower.
If only we could spell buns!
No, we can work with that.
Oh god, Clyde.
I spelled buns perfectly. I don't know what you're talking about.
Alright. So, to this end, do we let them know where we're going tomorrow? They insisted to know when we knew more. I suppose we don't know more. We've presumed more, but I'd say until we actually know more, then we would have to either decide whether or not to renege on what we tentatively agreed upon. What do you think?
I know nothing right now, and it's very annoying.
How do you propose we correct that?
I normally correct not knowing things by going to a library.
All right. Would you like to spend tomorrow in the library while I go and talk to the politicians to try and find more about this tower?
Yes, please. I want nothing to do with the politicians.
Excellent.
Oh, come on. You'd have fun with it.
I guess I'll go with the politician. Last time I went to the library, I thought I was gonna die.
That sounds
That was
about
a
right for
terrible
you.
library.
But yeah, no, I would like to go to a library and see if I can find anything on the code that's in this book to help crack it.
Separate skill sets. But I'll go talk to people, you go find things, we'll figure this shit out.
That works.
I'm
And
glad
Clyde
you had
will
a
be there
better
for
night
moral
than I did,
support
though.
and for
I
someone
really
else
wish
for
I
Ire
would've
to
gone
be on.
Play cards.
Oh, Clyde would either be so rich or so poor right now.
Oh, and I'll go. That reminds me, and fish into my pocket for the chip that I pocketed, and just kind of like flip it over to the two gamblers and just say,
Oh!
anything seem different
Oh, yeah.
about that to you?
Do we recognize the fun square poker chip?
I think immediately, Renny for sure has spent lots of time in the Copper Cup, and this is one of their kind of house chips.
Okay.
It seems like almost like bronze gilded coin. It's made to look fancy, but is probably cheap enough to make thousands
Easy to
of them.
manufacture, but looks cool.
Yes.
Okay, so it's like plated wood or something like that.
Yes.
Set
Okay.
bite marks into it.
If Clyde gets his hands on it, I'm sure there will be shortly.
He's got to test it.
Bends it right in half.
Cracks another tooth.
You don't have enough of those left.
That's fine. You just got to make another trip to a graveyard.
Excellent. I think we ought to go brief Jasira if somebody else wants to take a shift on entertaining our fly on the wall.
I can do that.
I appreciate it.
I'm
And we'll
literally
do our
just
best
going
to-
to like switch places, and then what's the name? Yeah, Shy the Shadow Cat comes in after me, and I'm going to cast Dancing Lights to make another cat and have them play with each other, and I'm sure Alma will be enraptured for as long as I maintain concentration.
So you were working over in the like fields. What is that? Just completely transfixed.
We'll relay everything to Jasira of what we talked through, what we thought we decided, and ask her if she has any questions, inputs, wants to make any amendments, or thinks this is reasonable.
As a side note, did I only talk fluff with Alma?
Unless you wanted to go deeper.
Probably would have.
She would be asking all about
Found a
your
couple
past
moments.
and your nature, about the planes, about how you got here. She's
Yeah, she'll probably tell like
fascinated
the
by
horror
it.
stories about the big scary monsters, how it's all dark, and that's why no melanin in the skin. We pale as fuck. No sun lamps. We don't believe in that. But yeah, she'd probably also try to just say like, okay, can you be like super honest with me real quick?
I'm always honest with you.
Great. What is up with Morien? Like, I get I haven't seen many like her either. But is she trying to be convoluted on purpose? What is the benefit if she has good intentions? I don't understand.
Morien likes to have walls up. I think that they had many people that treat them differently. And they're very, very good at keeping information and getting information and understanding the value of information. And they often don't want to give information for free. I find that talking to people is the best way to get and give information, and so I give away all information for free.
So you're the exact opposite of her.
Morien and I are great friends. They have a wonderful perspective on life, but it takes a long time to get that perspective in clarity. I
guess that was going to be my next question is, how do we help them feel more comfortable to break down those walls? It doesn't help, I'm sure, that we're questioning them. However, we are also in the business of you can't blindly trust.
Well, I think when I was watching you, that you felt suspicious, and you had to grab me with your shadow tattoo and talk to me for a long time, and then you were still suspicious, and then we had some drinks and we talked about ourselves, and then we were slightly less suspicious, and now we can talk and be kind of suspicious and kind of talking. And Morien is still in the watching phase. They're still in the shadows looking for information. They just need to be grabbed up by tattoos and fed some drinks of their preferred choice until, you get past the awkward first date stage.
I assume tying them down with my tattoos and force feeding them drinks is not an option.
No, me and Redbeard have tried that before. It didn't go well.
Good looking out. Yeah.
They're not exactly what I would call friendly, but they are they care, and we've been through a lot, and I didn't get to know them until we went out on a few missions. So maybe whenever the Veil gets their next mission, you all just need to come and watch. And then you'll see our side and how we work.
The Veil.
Is that what you guys call yourselves? The Veil?
The Verdant Veil.
Aw, cute. That's
Verdant
a good
as in
name.
green.
Thank you.
That's a very nice name.
Thanks.
Any reason why you picked that name?
I have no clue. Maine was already using it whenever I got in.
How did you meet Morien and Redbeard?
Well, when I came to this city, I was kind of wandering around and people looked at me a little bit funny, and I got all sorts of attention, and they put me in weird places with bars, and then they sent me to some sort of place, and it had really soft walls, but it was kind of lonely. And eventually there was like this big type of explosion thing, and we were just wandering the halls then, and somebody came and like picked me up and like checked and seeing if I was okay. And I was kind of scared, and so I kind of scratched their eyes out a little bit. But then afterwards,
Fair.
when I was okay, I think that they were very impressed by my abilities. And, you know, they were like, we've got to get you into this squad. We're building like a super squad, and you're just exactly what we need. And I was like, of course I am. I am so glad that you noticed. And we went out and we kind of kicked butt and took out a whole manticore. And I'm pretty sure that Morien might still have the stinger somewhere. But Morien was super cool. And when I saw them moving through the battlefield, they have like some elegance and grace that I think gets missed sometimes because they're always standing looking like a cool person against the wall. And like, I mean, I guess that's like cool and stylish, but like their movements are so much smoother than that. And I don't know. I think that there's just a lot more there than they can reveal. But you know, that's sometimes how circumstances are. And that's why you just gotta change the circumstances. Like I was watching you, and then you started watching me, and then you almost tried to punch me, and then you captured me, and then we drank together. And now circumstances are all different, and you get to know me better, I get to know you better, and I think that's much better. But I don't know if Morien would think that way. Because I think when she's gotten to know other people that weren't as cool as me or Redbeard, that maybe it hasn't gone as well. And so when she's suspicious of other people, she's got to, you know, keep up the borders, keep themselves safe.
Entirely hear you there. Also, side note, I think I mentioned it. I don't recommend like running after people if you're trying to like observe them. That is pretty jarring. Now, granted, I'm very observant, but you kind of caught me at like the worst time.
Well, if you weren't running so fast, I wouldn't have had to run to keep up with you.
Just kind of shrug on that one.
What were you even running from?
That's a very difficult question. You don't want to know them.
That sounds spooky and ominous.
Yeah. They're not nice. They... very detestable. You know? And I mean this in the nicest way. It seems like they have a similar mindset to Morien of, if they do something for you, they want something back. Unfortunately, I am unaware, or I was unaware of the price they put on that agreement.
What did they do for you?
I'm away from home, aren't I?
Well, from what you were saying, this is a different plane, right? And you come from that other one.
Very dark, yes.
And so if they got you...
Here we see the sun.
They got you here, but if it cost something, was it you getting someone taken back?
Well, I worked on the plantation, but it seems like it's more than that still.
You worked on
people don't see me as people.
Oh, well, that I understand.
Yeah. I'm almost like a commodity. It feels like. Not to my people, but those people. You know?
Sure, yeah, I totally know what that means.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They think of me as a thing, not a people.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, I'm right with you.
Bree, you're running into Kashaw's nodding sagely right now.
Ooh, Shadow Kitty, look!
Yeah, so she's like, oh, so you were working.
Counter ever.
You were working on the plantation. Oh my goodness, what is that?
Full circle. See, that's how it went.
Like a moon.
Yep.
And so
Increase
Roland,
the count by 1/3.
Roland keeps her distracted for some time as you're filled in on the plan, Jasira.
And I'm still like leaning in the doorway with an ear on that conversation now while just that's going on.
Yeah, Alma's
over
just
there.
like playing with the two cats.
So.
Neither of which she can physically touch. Her hands just pass through them.
Well, she's kind of spectral in her own right? So like.
She's
You
not.
know.
Cancels out.
She looks ethereal, but she's tangible.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool. I was like, ooh.
Corporeal.
Corporeal.
There
yeah.
we go.
Wait, can I pet Roland's cats?
Don't you
kill
dare.
Oh.
Dad. Only your left
Actually-
hand, Clyde.
Shy, according to the journal, is immortal, so
Maybe?
Oh.
But is that like elf immortal, like doesn't die of old age, but or like does not die to like flamethrowers?
We can test it out.
Some deep lore in there. That journal. That journal is is influenced from a game that I played, and it hit me hard the first time I read through it. But yeah, is there anything else that you guys wanted to do this evening before finding your rest?
Well, I will say Jasira will share with everyone about, in slightly hushed tones, just so Alma stays distracted and cannot hear it with passive. So they're of the Verdant Vale. Does that ring a bell to you guys?
Anyone who is a native of Carnath, so the Schultz, Renny, Rhea, Renny and Rhea, as well as Roland. Well, Roland's kind of on the side, but I'll go ahead and let you make a history check as well. But all of you can make a history check to see if you recognize the name.
Ooh,
I will
Rhea.
turn off guidance so that I don't lose concentration on dancing lights. Oh, terrible. Unless it has to do with Sire the Last War in Warforged, in which
No,
case
it does
it's
not.
17.
I hope it doesn't. That would be real awkward.
For Renny and Thashalt,
Yeah.
the name doesn't really land. For Roland, the name sounds familiar. Feels like you've heard of it somewhere, but you can't remember too many details. But Rhea, you have heard of this group. This group is a group of, for lack of a better term, adventurers. There are many adventuring groups in Carnath and Carlacton even specifically, but this is one of the ones that has gotten some renown recently, having taken out some significant threats in the nearby area. You've heard some songs about them, you've seen their name up on job boards and announcement sheets and things like that. So you know that they've been around for a few years and active.
Come on, you guys. You recognize that from the song. You know, the
The War Room song.
I knew you would know it.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Okay,
it's like what you guys do. Like, you get the songs and you save the towns and collect money.
The Verdant Vale, they lift the pail and carry it to the dung heap. Yes, I've heard of them.
Wait. Isn't that the same tune as Clyde's song, Barrymore's
No, I
Bastards?
didn't plagiarize it! Shut your mouth! Paramount's Bastards is a Clyde original!
I hate to break it to you, our beloved Clyde does not have the compositional talent. He's an excellent thief of beautiful melodies.
He's a lyricist, not a composer.
Half of his songs are my songs.
Hey, they're mine now.
Copyright TM.
You see, if he wasn't such a good friend, the magistrates would have often been tithing his income and giving it back to me.
Is true. It's why you gotta have beers with him when you first come into town. Very important.
Unfortunately, I didn't get to ask some more. I was kind of hoping I would get more information out of Alma. As we suspect, Morien is quite the lyricist and might have a psychology of afraid of being judged, and so there's a million walls. I said, okay, how do you break down those walls? She said, okay, how about you tie her down with the shadows and give her booze? I asked if that would work, and then she said no. So maybe we have to get her a drink.
I was halfway out of taking a drink out before you said no.
Well, the answer is a drink, but apparently we need to offer Morien a drink they actually want and get them wasted willingly. That's the
Alright,
TLDR.
I'll try and put some extra oomph into this stock of moonshine. Clyde
I was
spits into his
hoping-
hands and rubs them together.
I was hoping to see if they have any other interest in us besides the circumstantial, but fortunately we didn't get that far, I suppose.
No, I appreciate your efforts. I think you did a great job. Knowing that we didn't run into a group of probably villain masterminds and instead just ran into a bunch of other broken adventurers is in fact promising. That think about some of the things we've been through, or some of the things you were through before I joined you and whatnot. That if all that led up to a whole bunch of being psychologically broken and unwilling to talk to people for fear of something bad happening again, that'd be understandable. We could conceive of that. So that probably does bode well. That they're irritating but not malevolent, and we can deal with irritating but not malevolent. So no,
The other idea
very
was-
reassuring.
Yeah, the other idea was to fight alongside them, which I don't know if that's where this is ultimately all heading with their investigation, but sounds like they just require putting in the work.
So are you okay
Well,
with
maybe
the
we
plan?
require putting in the work too. Did you ever think of that? We each put in the work with each other.
We didn't have no choice. Most of us.
We
And I mean, I like all y'all at this point, but when we first met each other, I didn't trust none of y'all guys.
But how many people were on that beach and how many people are in this room?
That's a good point.
In all fairness, I was trying to get away from my other kin,
That's valid.
and because I know I was more capable. And
I fixed
you,
my accordion. At this point, like, there's no greater badge of friendship. He could have just left me and laughed and moved on with his day.
Wouldn't do that.
But
no,
I
it's,
think we need each other for survival, though. Ultimately,
Exactly. And at the end of the day, I am here in this group still instead of having futzed off to a library somewhere to live out the rest of my days. I went into the Mournland with all of you. Because you had my back.
yeah, we don't need to go back there again, though.
No, if you're trying to
again.
go for another
Never
trip,
again.
Roland. No,
But the
I don't know if I
important
would have
thing
gone if I'd
here-
have known.
I told you.
But Boko
You all
said-
had my back, so I went. Those of you who were new to us joined us there had my back while we were there, so you are still here. The people who we met today have not done that, even in a conversation.
No, I agree with you completely, and I would be willing to bet every coin in this purse that they wouldn't have our back when it mattered. But again, there's still probably, if Jasira got accurate information, they're probably not going to actively work against us. So I'm more comfortable and more confident. So I agree with you. It's not somebody you'd want around in ideal circumstances. But these aren't really ideal circumstances. So an ally of convenience is still an ally, if you're at least sure that they're not an enemy.
These aren't ideal. What do you mean these aren't ideal? We're in a city that does not want to kill us yet, with a roof over our heads, food in our bellies, and a library around the corner. These are ideal circumstances. These are the best circumstances I've ever had.
Didn't you just get done telling us you weren't going to fuck off the library?
A city that just blew up and a book about harvesting showed up in its midst. That's quite ideal.
And if we want to return to ideal circumstances, we hand this book to the guards, and then we... As you put it so eloquently, fuck off to a library.
He makes a compelling...
I am comfortable... I am comfortable that the persons we've run across are not going to come find us and slit our throats in our sleep. Most likely. I will still sleep with one eye open. Not that I have a choice in that matter.
What, is that the eye-patched eye or the other one?
Nice.
But if they want to travel with us day by day, they need to bring something to the table.
Oh, I'm not advocating for being a daily companion. Just not a, we dispose of them in the back gutter and pretend we haven't met them. Don't call me crazy. I'm not advocating bringing in an unknown stranger who still wouldn't have told you what time it was if she was looking at her damned watch. So, I do get that's fair.
It is amazing how many problems a dagger in a dark alley solve, though.
Exactly, but I would like to save that for people I believe to be malevolent, because if I do that to too many people, then I'm the malevolent one.
Sometimes it takes a little malevolence to bring about a lack thereof.
I tell you what. Would you be willing to yield to not stabbing our new acquaintances for just a day? What you find in the library and what I find with the politicians. If it does not yield fruitful results of them just being broken adventurers, then we can get on with stabbing and I'll even help you. But just for the moment, can we see where this yields?
I get to spend that day in the library?
You get to spend
asking
that day
questions
in the library.
of people who actually have answers?
Yes.
Read all the books you want.
By that I mean dead people who already put their words down on paper and can't take them back.
Jasira just like shows her gems. Why do you think I have these?
Make sure you restock on rope.
I do need to restock. Haven't had a good killing in a minute, but it's fine. Too many undead. Let's get back to the normal people.
Start killing things with souls again.
It's harvest time, motherfuckers.
I'm not going to lie. I too am irritated. If I was just going to let my emotions win, that's the right course of action. But the older I get, the more I seem to realize that every time I let my emotions win, tomorrow is a worse day than it otherwise could have been. So, I think a little bit of relaxation here. That, again, Alma, I suppose, Jasira trusts that she was fruitful and was truthful, and the information she spilled, she didn't think much of, but does mean a lot. It gives a reasonable explanation.
I'm going to look at Alma and see if she's still playing with the cats.
Oh yeah, she is. They're kind of jumping on top of her shoulders, and she's like twisting around, trying to grasp onto their tails, trying to pet them. She is transfixed.
And
so
I have heard of the
I'd like to
tale.
I'd like to point out the irony here of rather than distracting a cat with a little flashy light, I have now distracted a person with a cat made out of flashing lights.
Upping your game.
Accurate.
So no, I have heard of the Verdant Vale, and jokes aside, they're a worse version of us, all things considered. That, again, the stories about them are the stories about you guys when you first stepped off the boat, kind of thing. So there's something there. And if I'm wrong, and they turn out to be even remotely dishonest with us in the future, they can be a new ring for you. We can leave their pieces in a whole bunch of places. We can do all kinds of things, and I give you full blessing to do so.
We can do to them what we did to that dwarf.
Oh
But-
gosh.
Hold on, which one? Let me see, which one was he? I think I have.
Oh yeah, you do have him in a ring.
Yeah.
His name started with a G, I think, like
Gordo.
Gordo.
You know
Yeah.
what? I did. He was my bracelet that I used, so now I have an opening for Gordo. That's why.
So a position's open.
I'm just imagining Jasira in combat, like, kills someone, sucks out their soul, and then looks at the next person and goes, "The position has been filled."
Oh,
That'd be pretty badass in the future.
so nope, you can make a ring out of Morien if I'm wrong. But, let's move on to tomorrow, and if tomorrow goes well, we'll give them the day after, and if the day after goes well, and so on. So, just a one-day clock at a time. One bad day, and she can be jewelry. But for now, let's work on this. Let's run the leads we have, and let's see what we're doing. But are you guys with me? One day.
I'm spending the day in the library, so why not?
Yeah, nothing bad's ever happened in a library.
Not to me.
What do you think,
Next.
Boko? Day by day sounds good?
I think that there is more here that I would like to know, and I will not get answers from them with our current technology if they are in your ring.
You'll get 5. Doesn't Speak with Dead give you 5 answers?
If you have a skull
Ah,
and potentially a soul.
Oh, we did that to Boko while he was alive.
So no rings. Got it. Have to wait on the rings.
As you all complete this discussion, kind of talking through the plans for the future and what to do with the Verdant Vale, Alma is eventually kind of pulled together, and you find her a place to sleep, and all of you begin to find some spot for rest. Boko does eventually come up to Jasira. Are you going to be alright for tonight? I will be close if you need it.
We can hope.
I
don't know what happened previously, so
I'm going to set another alarm around your room in case you leave for any reason or anyone comes in. I will know.
thank you.
Good night, Jasira.
Good night, Boko. Time to meditate and knit.
Angry knit.
Rewinding back slightly to the dock ward as you all had been leaving, Redbeard had kind of glanced over at Morien, watching you all go. Well, we met him for the first time. What'd you think of him?
I think that the additional help, the additional lines of attack, I think we need someone like them if we're going to get the information we need.
Lines of attack. Damn, Morien. You are a little jaded tonight. I don't know. Did they seem too dangerous? Do we need to keep an eye on Alma at all? I assume you won't be back at the place tonight.
I think Alma's got their number.
Somehow I feel like we could send her into Den of Lions and she'd make them friends.
I think she would. I mean, she came into our den and made us friends.
I like to think that when I pulled her out of there, the fact that when she scratched my eyes out that I didn't go and toss her back in was real friendly of me too.
Well, it was entertaining at least.
Yeah, you weren't much help when you were laughing your ass off. I think it was the first time I saw you smile.
Really?
I mean, come to think of it, my memory ain't the best, but I feel like you were pretty prickly the first month or two that we were traveling together.
Oh. What are the elegance and smooth lines? How could I possibly ever be prickly, darling?
I think you've come together quite nicely since we've made it here.
Probably so.
Well, are you...
I hope we've done okay leaving Alma with them.
Like
I think
said,
we've done okay. She's got them. She's got it.
she can get out whenever she wants. I think I'm more worried if we'll get another chance after that today. But I guess I'd best go check in with the others. Will you be coming back, or are you headed out?
I probably should. I probably should. Zane may want to make another try at the tower. We were kind of interrupted last night.
Well,
And of course, I've got to stop in and pester Andy. I mean, that's a must-do on my to-do list today, of course.
she's supposed to be back later. I imagine she'll be out there. If you do go out again, just be careful. I imagine that there's only going to be more attention on that place now.
Yeah, well, you know, Zane and I together, we can get into anything.
I hear that. The two of them begin to kind of move back into the shadows of the dock ward. And the evening continues on. The shadows dance across the city. And Jasira, you enter your trance. Where is your mind at? What are you thinking? How are you preparing for the first eve after whatever sent you careening across the city.
Honestly, pretty cautious. I'm sure she's just kind of doing a play-by-play. But she doesn't really understand when everything started, you know. Whenever... Was it Green Tarn? Way back when. She doesn't know what triggered that. She doesn't understand what triggered the first time in the city. And she had to streak back naked, because, you know, morning runs are great. Just
Lets you go faster.
something about the crowd, maybe. She can't put a finger on it. She can't believe that she mistaken Alma, perhaps, as a figure trying to chase her, to capture her. But she recognizes the fear was so rooted in her at that point, and she can only think to the spirit that her and Boko talked to that said there's something much worse within her. And that is kind of gnawing at her a little bit. As hard as she tries to be a better person, she can't fight the negativity of, I shouldn't be here, I shouldn't be free. What is wrong with me? But then has that little bit of peace that Boko's watching now. Very complicated. Lots on her mind.
How quickly do you think you find your trance? Are you up for a while, or do you find that comfort and protection to put her at ease?
I would bet the comfort probably hits her maybe 3 hours or so. So not quite to push her to the very end of the long rest, but almost. Like, she'll basically get up an hour before everybody else, but not much else.
It's maybe an hour into that as you're kind of thinking and processing into the evening, and there's suddenly this soft, warm wind in your room. You feel more so than see as the temperature rises around you, and it kind of sets your spine to tingling. And you turn and see a small, lithe figure. Reddish scarlet hair just wisping around her shoulders. A thin red silk dress hanging loosely. You see that same red-haired succubus, Anne, who had long since been forgotten, but who you had left with a task. She's standing there kind of looking away from you at the moment, and you can see the thin but strong muscles in her exposed back, just kind of flexing, almost like that of a cat. What are you doing?
trying to get some composure, I'm sure. This is the first time this has happened. What are you doing here? Do you have information?
It's been so long since I've checked in. I just thought that you might want to know what I've been up to. I did try to track down a bit of the information you requested. You do remember what we were talking about, yes?
Bree does not remember.
Do
It's
you...
been a long time.
It's been a little
Jasira
while
should.
for Jasira as well.
Yeah. I feel like Jasira would.
Jasira
I have slept
remembers...
since then.
Jasira remembers talking to Anne about her father.
Yes, okay.
Damn it, we said no deals. Then probably literally everyone but Roland went and made another deal.
Let it blade, Mommy. She taught me how to knit. It's
Well,
important.
minor business deals. Hold on a second. That's a completely different thing.
What was the currency? Your soul.
Only half of it.
But it was at like 8% like rate of return, bro.
I found some information on your kin. If you're intrigued upon it.
Absolutely.
I have to admit that I have some interests of my own. I'm more than happy to connect you with all of your kin, but I'd like some insight into more of how you connect with death.
When you say all of them, there are some I'm rather estranged to and have no interest in connecting with.
Well, that simply makes my job easier, doesn't it?
And I assume they must be living.
They could be.
Jasira's eyebrow definitely just kind of like raises a little bit.
Listen, I have information and I want information. You let me look into your connection with your various accoutrements, the soul jewelry and how it connects to you, and I'd be happy to pass along these tidbits.
Would you be willing to tell me why you wish to know about my connection? Is there something about my home that intrigues you?
No, I find your home quite dull the few times that I've visited. No, I'm interested in souls, dear. You do know of my nature, no?
Naturally.
And do you know what it is that I do?
I've heard the rumblings.
Well, then you should have no reason or issue in making the intuitive leap to why something that deals with souls would be valuable to me.
Fair enough. Can we do a quick insight check?
Sure.
Great.
This one will be
Before
rolled.
I just
This
hand it
one will be rolled flat, though.
Flat as in my advantage at disadvantage?
Yeah. Normally it would be at disadvantage, but because of your ability, it's flat.
Let's go. Not a natty, but I'll take it. Let's go.
That
Might
was
as well be.
violins. Was that the Rains of Castamere that I just heard?
He's trying to rain down upon me.
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
Haha.
Don't be fooled by the initial intro. He composed his own.
Remember, I was there for that wedding. I know what happened.
Yeah.
Jasira, you see in her eyes that are not normal by any stance. They're, rather than the normal white, they're a yellow. And the pupils are this piercing red. And you can see just this lust, this hunger, and you feel your body sweating. You can feel yourself feeling warm and vulnerable. This is a lioness looking at a sheep. This is someone tangibly waiting for a meal that is just barely held out in front of them, and all they need is the slightest indication before they can devour what they've come for. You see that she is here to make a transaction with you, but one that is intimate and veiled and succulent. She has everything that you're looking for, but it's going to pull you along to get what you want, and she's certainly going to get what she came for in return.
What do you need?
Just but a few moments with your body.
Can I just stand here?
Certainly. I don't mind doing the work. She takes a few steps closer to you, Jasira, kind of running these long red nails up over your fingers and across the golden bracelets that you wear, almost counting every segment before it gets to the gems. And the fingers begin to twist and turn, and you almost see these wisps of black and red and orange energy moving back and forth, like a small conversation of arcane magic. And her fingers trace up higher, and here is this tantalizing feeling, this intoxication that comes with her touch. Go ahead and make me a wisdom saving throw. You feel this passion course through your veins, and your heart begins to beat, and you almost feel yourself leaning in close to her. She she smells incredible, and you just want to, no, you need to hold yourself together. Whatever is happening is something that you don't need. But you are fighting that instinct constantly, and you find all your focus, you find all of your concentration maintained on trying to have composure as this sexual creature is running her hands over your body, examining pieces of your arms and your neck. And there are these moments where you just want to give in to that feeling. You hold yourself tense. You feel that warmth spread over you, and then there is this shock for a moment of this burning sensation that shoots up your spine, and you almost shudder and realize as you catch yourself that she was about to undress you. That you kind of pull back and step away, and her eyes just look you up and down, just that intensity, looking over her meal. You're delicious. Are you sure you don't want to stay with me tonight? I'm sure I would make every moment as delicious for you as it has been for me.
I mean, once in a lifetime opportunity. It's gonna be better than the ooze.
If I may be so
Or the
frank,
witch.
I had... Bro, for real though.
Check another one off the monster manual.
You're really good at that, bro.
Sorry, Brie. What was she
Next
saying?
up, werewolf.
If I may be so frank, I had quite the episode last night.
You say you had an episode? Perhaps that's something that I could assist with as well. I am known to hex on my own accord, but that certainly makes me competent in removing them as well. And as she says removing them, you feel that sense of vulnerability again as you're holding these clothes onto your body.
Nope. Well, let's let the dice decide. Girly Pop can't be doing this right now. You would say another wisdom, right?
Sure.
Probably.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna be a 6. Teen.
I was supposed to make that easier. Okay. Composure.
Jasira,
The walls are real thin.
every moment that you spend with Anne, that longing gets stronger and stronger. And you feel on this tipping point now where if you let yourself go, you know that it will be pure bliss and ecstasy. You know that what waits you is beyond dreams.
Can we get to the information real quick?
I suppose if you prefer that kind of foreplay.
Business before pleasure.
That'd be nice. And
Yeah, but what if, this makes you forget everything? Wouldn't you want the information after?
She can make notes, I'm sure.
Yeah, you're definitely gonna have time to make notes.
Well, it depends. She can find paper, maybe.
Well, if you insist. Like you had guessed, I did find your father, and he is indeed alive. Though that's not the only member of your kin that I found on this plane.
And who else?
Come, just give me a taste, and I'll answer all of your questions.
Answer the one she already paid for first.
Do you promise?
Cross my
All your
heart and hope to
questions.
die.
There's no time limit placed on that deal.
Oh!
Damn, Bree!
Mm.
Quit wasting all the good ones.
I know.
The dice do not want you to lay with this creature in the monster manual. Flip a page.
I will just kind of reach her. She'll reach her arm out and say, "Here's a taste. Who else?" Clearly very tense and just trying to like.
She lifts up a hand and just draws this forked tongue that wraps around one finger, and she just draws out across your exposed arm, and you see the word Redbeard written out.
Yeah. That's not good. Where's Theodos?
Your father has been running for some time. When I ran into him, he was a ways to the south here. What is it those humans call that land now? Brayland or something of the sort? It's filled with peasants these days.
Camouflage, I suppose.
I suppose. Would you like a taste of me now? And she holds out her arm.
See, the fun part is I haven't quite nailed down her sexual identity quite yet, but I don't think that really matters with a succubus. So. She'd probably try to sniff. You said she smells good.
She does. She smells intoxicating. It is like this moment of nostalgia for that first time you ever saw someone that you found beautiful. And at the same time, this blissful moment of finding them years later even hotter. Yeah, musty library would be the scent for Roland.
Intoxicating.
One more quick question.
Oh, I don't do anything quick.
Brynhilde or Galaron?
She takes a step closer, pressing her body against yours as she reaches her hand up to your arm. Which one do you feel is here? And she just draws those other nails across your back, and there is this fiery pain that it turns into pleasure. And you somehow know and feel and see this image, this vision on Galres' estate. A woman in white, wearing a long white mask concealing her face from the sun.
Bad news bears, y'all.
This entity that you had been nearly in contact with.
Oh. There we go.
Uh-oh.
Tapped out.
Uh-oh.
Don't want to think about grandma. Let's go.
There is this moment of terror at feeling two sides of your vulnerability suddenly thrust into some unknown connection. And rather than trace those threads, you try to fall into escape. And the warm velvet embrace whisks you away. It's not until early the next morning that you awaken with vague memories like a blissful dream. Every muscle and inch of exposed skin still tingling with those sensations. You have that uplifting feeling in your chest of having every desire satiated. And yet this pit in the center of that unresolved knowledge. And there is but a single red rose upon your room, or upon your bed inside your room.
Meanwhile, the whole time Boko was looking at his alarm panel going, I do not recognize this code.
I mean, 1,000%. I assume we're
Boko's
done for the night
alarm-
almost.
Yeah, Boko's alarm
But
never
yeah, just-
went off.
Yeah, yeah. And all I can say is Jasira's future action is going to be barging into Boko's room.
Took a look at the notes from last night. It's just stick figures with huge boobs.
Yeah, I think with that, a wonderful final note, we'll go ahead and wrap up here for tonight, and it will be a few weeks before we get back to things here and see the how Jasira reacts to another wonderful night here in town. The city is just great for her. But thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you next time.